Welcome to the Mortgage Broker Podcast, tailor-made for Canadian mortgage industry professionals. Proudly presented by A Better Way Mortgage Group, this podcast is your trusted source for insider insights, market updates, and strategies to elevate your career in the ever-evolving world of mortgage brokering. Whether you're a seasoned broker with A Better Way Mortgage Group or an industry enthusiast looking to stay ahead, our episodes are designed to empower you with the knowledge and tools you need to excel in the Canadian mortgage space. Rolling into the next component, we got some more acronyms, which I'll let you take away here. So, I mean, basically, in short, this is the politically exposed, high risk screening process and what that looks like. So, take this one away. And again, also, I'll preface this is probably another one of those, more well known, more talked about requirements of this rollout.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. So this is part of KYC. So this is part of the know your client responsibilities, just like ideas. So you got your PEP, which is a politically exposed person, PEP, and then you got your HIO or a HIO, which is the head of an international organization. And these follow the same kind of guidelines. So from a brokerage perspective, it's the brokerage's responsibility to make sure that there is a way for you to verify this, or that there's a way for you to reach a decision. Whether that is, again, if you use Velocity, you're using a manual signed PEP form where you send it to the client reads it, sends it back, away you go. There's also things out there where, again, like Equifax, for example, does have the option. It depends on your brokerage. It depends on your network, right? Finmo does something different than Scarlet does, but they have the option to go in. Again, you have to pay, whether it's 50 cents, 90 cents, whatever it is, and they run your client's name through a PEP or a HIO website, and a bunch of back-end stuff happens, and it kicks it out saying, red light, green light. And then same thing for the head of the international organization. It's run through the same type of systems, but it's definitely the responsibility of the brokerage to set it up for success, but it's the broker's responsibility to do it. So the broker needs to either make sure that they're getting that signed PEP form, make sure they're running that person through that PEP screening process at the very, very beginning of it, to make sure that if you're dealing with a foreign PEP or a domestic PEP, and taking the acceptable enhanced due diligence measures to try to mitigate that factor from your implied risk rating to that residual risk rating that we mentioned at the start. Because you have to treat them differently, right? A foreign PEP is treated differently than a domestic PEP is. So making sure that you know what those are, again, that's probably the brokerage's responsibility. But again, making sure that you're following up so that you're confident in it is yours.
Knowing exactly when to escalate a high risk file would obviously fall in this bucket, and really understanding what's required of you, of course, is very important from an agent perspective. And then looking at this is one kind of, I guess, curveball I'll throw at yourself is, looking at liability from an agent versus a brokerage perspective. Let's say we have an issue here. Ultimately, they're going to be looking at, one, did the brokerage, provide, the right mechanisms to actually know how to do this and where to do this and how to do it. But, is the broker or the agent actually, doing these functions?
Yep. No, exactly right. And so it definitely falls on everybody's lap to make sure that it's done accurately and correctly.
I
think another thing that I don't know if we had written down, but it falls into the KYC as well, to make sure that you're doing your sanction screening, right? The ID verification, the PEP, the risk assessment, the sanction screening are kind of the four pillars that most of the brokers know about. And sanction screening, you can consider it kind of the same thing as a PEP. There's ways to do it. Again, Velocity has their in-house sanction screening. Every other submission platform has another way. You might have to pay for it. You might not. But what you're trying to do is to make sure that nobody is out there that you're helping that's on the sanctions list, because we're technically not allowed to do that. It's sanctions evasion offenses are very, very real and taken very seriously. So that's where your enhanced due diligence comes through. And that is, maybe you pulled a sanctions or screening report and it comes up red. So you have to go a little bit deeper, and you have to make sure that you're, maybe you're going to, there's a website called Open Sanctions, for example, where you could go and type in your name and it'll come up with anything that might show as a PEP or a sanctions offense. You might be able to find that person has the same name as somebody else in the world that's on that sanctions list, and then be able to compare, birthdays to make sure that, hey, no, it's not, it's a different person. Because there's lots of people in the world that have same names, different parts of the world, and do, some do good and some do bad. So being able to show and report and record keep that you've taken the steps to make sure you're not dealing with this person is pretty much what they're looking for. And if you are dealing with someone who is on the sanctions list, you have to stop working on that file right away. Go to your compliance officer, and you're going to be looking to file your report that is deemed necessary, depending on what the actual outcome of your review was.
Where I could see, again, just forecasting a little bit for this show is, where I could see some excitement is just some of the wild stories that are coming across your desk. Obviously without giving up too much detail, stay compliant. But there's certainly some interesting stuff that we're starting to see. Yeah,
I've got over the last 3 weeks, I've dealt with a Hong Kong crypto money launderer. I've also dealt with finding out that somebody was a chairman for a company in Iran that sold drones to Russia for the war in Ukraine. Wow. So, right. And it's all the due diligence, right? It's all the enhanced due diligence that the agents do at the beginning. These were both done through assignments as well. The purchaser was the actual criminal. And then because we've had all these upticks in, now there's a foreign buyer's tax, there's FINTRAC rules and regulations. So they bought it a year ago, and now they're not going to be able to get approved because of all this. So they're trying to assign it to their wife, their daughter, their mother, whoever it is that's not on that list. So it's 100% the brokers that said something's weird here. And then they ran those names through the adverse media, open source searching, that kind of stuff. Came up, played detective, followed the yellow brick road, discovered it, came to me, and we've actually, filed a number of reports to FINTRAC for these type of situations. So yes, super interesting stuff. Yeah. Right. I never thought I'd be into the, detective work type motto, but it's definitely kind of a fun thing to be part of.
Yeah, no doubt. Thank you for tuning in. If you found value in this show, please subscribe to our channel on your preferred platform. We're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Your support is incredibly appreciated. We also welcome your reviews and feedback, which are crucial in helping us deliver outstanding educational content. Feel free to share your thoughts. A 5-star review would be fantastic if you think we earned it. Lastly, a vital announcement about Backpack Buddies, our chosen charity for 2025. This remarkable organization addresses a hidden hunger issue many are unaware of in British Columbia. While school districts provide meals during school hours, numerous children face food scarcity at home, particularly during the weekends. Backpack Buddies steps in to support these vulnerable children, ensuring they have easy-to-prepare, familiar food for weekends. This is achieved through collaborations with schools and an extensive distribution network. Your contribution can make a significant difference. With just $20, you can give a child in need a food bag from Backpack Buddies filled with enough meals and snacks to sustain them over the weekend and more. Once again, thank you for listening, and see you on the next one.